everyone, Sabrina here from Scrappy Tales Crafts. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be mass producing some Halloween party invitations. They are, of course, pop-up cards, and I'm going to show you in part one my mass production process, and then I'll show you one of the 3 Halloween designs that I ended up going with. I made 12 total cards, 4 of each design, so let's get started here. I always, whenever I know I'm going to mass produce something, I like to do all my die cutting ahead of time. So I draw out a sketch, I figure out the colors that I want, and then I immediately start die cutting. And what I like to do is grab all the dies and my cardstock, cut down the cardstock so that it's larger than the die, and then I try to fit as many dies as possible onto my cutting plate, and I run them through my Gemini. Here is my next set of cards. This one was going to be a completely black, white, and silver design. So again, I have all my dies laid out and I will just run them through all at once. I am going to show you all the products that I used. I used a mixture of Scrappy Tales, pop-up dies, and house add-ons with Tim Holtz Halloween dies. So here you can see I did all of my die cutting, and I still kept all of my die cuts in tidy little piles, and you'll see why once I start creating my Ziploc bags. So here I'm going over all the products. I do have one single brick background that I cut from heavyweight cardstock from the Scrappy Tales Slimline brick background. I have some roofs that I cut from the neighborhood house add-on. You can also die cut your windows from this die. You can create a whole house with it. So I ended up really wanting to use the windows that come in the Christmas house add-on, but you definitely don't have to do that. So that is this die here. I cut the doors from this die, and you're going to notice that I cut some pieces from multiple colors of cardstock. That is because some of the items I wanted to pop up with multiple layers. Others I wanted to paper piece. So you'll see that when I actually start assembling each card. I cut some doorknobs from this set, as well as the little lanterns. I thought they would be really cute glued onto the windows. So here in this case, I have a white lantern and a black one. That is because I'm going to layer one heavyweight white behind the black to help them stand out more. Definitely don't have to do that, especially for mass producing, but you guys know that I love my dimension, and these images are so tiny that foam tape just wouldn't be time efficient for me, so I do like to do the extra die cutting. I also die cut roofs as well as some of the windows that are included in the die set. Then I have the Scrappy Tales Slimline pop-up birdhouse, which you're going to see for all 3 card designs. All of these are pop-up cards, which you might be thinking are not great for mass producing, but this is my Halloween party. I actually never send out my cards. That is because I like to save my samples and card designs. If I ever choose to go to like a trade show, I want to be able to display the cards that I make. So I never actually really mail any of my cards. And people know me as the card girl. So my cards have to be epic when I do mail them. So all of these are going out to my friends and family. So I wanted them to be pop-up cards, of course, and I wanted to show them my own products. So I did cut out a bunch of card bases you saw there. I don't end up using all of them. Here I have the Tim Holtz Spooky Gate. And then from that same set, I die cut some bats. And back when I first started selling cards on Etsy and mass producing, I never cut these small little images because I didn't think I needed them. I thought I needed large images to fill my cards, but those smaller ones are what adds those details, and they're also great fillers. So if you feel like you're missing something, having a bat or a spider is really great. So cut a couple of those. I cut some smoke for my chimney from a Tim Holtz die. I will have everything listed down below. I'm not sure what the names of these are. I have the pictures in front of you. From this set, I have the spider web, the spider, and the skull. Definitely use what you have in your stash. I love Tim Holtz because he adds so many dies in one set, and all of them are greatly sized. So yeah, that's what I decided to use. They're my favorite Halloween dies by far. So here I'm going to create my little Ziploc bags, basically creating card kits here so that I can organize my images and start working one card at a time. So for each card, I have a lot of card bases, 2 whites, 2 grays, 1 black, and 1 vellum. I ended up not needing the white layers. I added the white layers to add some more stability, but by the time I added all of my layered die cuts and then my text for the party invite, I ended up not needing those heavyweight whites. It added quite a bit of weight by the time it was all done. Here I have my gates. I have 2 white layers and 1 silver layer that I'm going to add on top. That gate is definitely my focal point on the card, so I wanted to make sure that that had a lot of nice dimension. I'm going to have 2 roofs, one for the front and back, 2 connector pieces to create my pop-up, 2 bones, as well as 1 skull. So some of the elements I am not popping up, some I am. So I have some lanterns. I'm going to have 2 white and 2 black. So this one I am going to layer up. And I wanted 2 on each card because I had 2 windows that I was going to put them on. I'm going to have 3 bats for each card. And I'm just putting them all into a Ziploc bag. That way I can do all of my bags at once, and then I can go through each bag one at a time and start assembling. I have 3 roofs. I had 2 gray roofs and 1 white roof. 2 of those triangular windows, 1 white, 1 silver. Then I have 1 spider web, 1 smoke, 1 doorknob, and then I think I add 3 spiders. I like to add the spiders to the back of my card where my text is, just to decorate it a little bit more. Then I have my 2 doors, 1 black and 1 gray. I'm going to paper piece that one. And then I have my windows. I wanted 2 for each card, so I have 2 silvers and 2 whites to layer behind. And that's it. So that is my complete goodie bag of die cuts. So you can give these out to friends as little card kits. I think that would be really fun, or you can create card class kits. I'm thinking, you know, if I ever went to trade shows, this is probably how I would build my kits. I would have everything die cut, and then everyone would ink and assemble themselves. So here I sped up the video. I was actually going in real time just then, and this is double the speed. This is how I end up going quicker. I just pile on all the die cuts, and then I put them all into my Ziploc bag. And when in doubt, you might be thinking, this is a lot of die cuts for 1 card. I ended up using all of them, but it's better to have more than less. So here's my 3rd goodie bag, and then I had a 4th one that I did off screen. So once all those were bagged, I then die cut everything for my next design. I used the Slimline Wood Grain by Scrappy. You might be wondering what I'm using those for, and I'm going to use them as stencils. So that's why I only needed 1 of each, and I die cut all of them from heavyweight cardstock. So for the first design, I used the brick. This one I used the wood grain. The 3rd one I used the cobblestone. Here are all my Tim Holtz dies. I love this one as my favorite. I again used the spider web, the layered pumpkin or jack-o'-lantern, the witch boots, and the witch broom. I also used another set for some bats. And I can't believe I have not bought anything from Tim's latest Halloween release. He always kills it with Halloween and Christmas. So I think for Black Friday, I'm going to splurge and buy some of the new Halloween items. But this one I have used so many times. It's definitely my favorite Halloween dies in my stash. Then from this set, I die cut some smoke and the little raven. I will use the smoke to come out of my chimney on all of my cards. For this design, you can see I went with much brighter colors, and I'm curious to know which of the three you guys like the best. From the Slimline pop-up birdhouse die, I cut the roof and the base, of course, from this dark turquoise blue, orange, and white. Again, I don't end up using the white layers. From the Christmas roof bundle, I cut some string of lights, the straight across type, and then of course the individual light bulbs. This is a Christmas set, but I thought it would be really cute to have orange lights at the top of my card. From the neighborhood house add-on, I cut my roofs, and then a couple windows, and my door, and all the little pieces that layer on top of the door. This one was probably the most time consuming just because there's a lot of details on the door, and there's a lot of small elements. But I love die cutting, paper piecing, so I don't mind it at all. I am going in real speed here. I thought it was important to point out what everything is and to show you my little piles. So here I'm going to start my Ziploc bag. I have 2 turquoise blue, 1 orange, and 2 white. You don't need the 2 white. I have 2 turquoise blue connector pieces. Those are going into my bag. I have 2 string of lights. And then I'm going to need 30 total light bulbs for those. These are all double cut. So some of you might be thinking, oh, you must have spent several hours die cutting. And I did, but a lot of the elements I was able to die cut twice at once through my Gemini. I can't say that you can do that with the Spellbinders machines. I'm not sure, but the Gemini has a lot of pressure. So if you're using lighter weight cardstock, you can double cut some pieces. So those light bulbs are definitely double layered, because I knew I was going to need a lot of them. I have my broom that I die cut from several sheets of different colored cardstock. I'm definitely paper piecing that. Then I have the details for my door. So I die cut each detail once from green cardstock and twice from heavyweight white cardstock. I really wanted that detail on the door to pop out. I have a spider web, a green door, 2 green doors actually, to add more stability, and 1 black door for the outer frame. All of my doors for my cards are going to open to reveal a sentiment, so I made sure that those were nice and sturdy, either die cut from heavyweight cardstock or layered twice with lighter weight. I have 2 of the half circle windows, 1 from white, 1 from black. I have 2 of the doorknobs, cut once from black, once from white for dimension. Then I have the little bats with, again, that white layer for added dimension. You definitely do not have to do this. In fact, it did add quite a lot of time to my die cutting process, but I'm always like watching something, normally true crime. So as I'm die cutting, I'm not like not enjoying the process, if that makes sense. So I don't mind that extra cutting. I have 2 gray roofs, 1 for the back, 1 for the front. I have 4 pumpkin layers. So 2 of the solid layer, 2 of the detail layer, cut once from orange and white. I'm going to have a pumpkin on the front and back of my card. That's why I'm going to have 2 pumpkins for each card. I have my witch boots, 1 layer from purple, 1 layer from white. I have my taller windows with the rounded tops. I will have 2 black, 2 white. Then I have my chimneys, 2 blue, 1 white. And then I use the Slimline Everyday Borders and die cut a black fence for the front of my card. Because they're so long, I end up adding a fence to the front and back of each card. So that was a lot of layers. I put them all into my Ziploc bags, and then I went to do the other 3. So I just added them to their own bags. And this was very helpful to keep me organized. And once I started assembling the cards, I just dumped everything out of the bag, separated them again, and went straight to work. This also ensured that I did not lose any of these teeny tiny pieces like the light bulbs. So I would highly recommend this system of mass producing. It's really nice to have everything tidy and organized. So this is my third design. This is the next day. I lit a candle to get in the mood. And this design is probably my favorite. I pulled out this die set again for all 3 cards, definitely my favorite, and I had to use the ghosts that were included. So I have the ghosts, the cat, of course the spider web made it to all 3 cards. Really great to add decoration. I think I have a spider, yes, for this design. So I ended up pretty much using every image from that die set. Then I have the neighborhood house add-on for the roofs again. For the door and the roof, I actually used the fairy house add-on. And I saw one of my subscribers, she tagged me on an Instagram post, and she created a very similar Halloween card using this die set. I thought it was genius, and I had to do a variation for my Halloween card. So I'm going to link to her post so you guys can see it. She went with the same brown and black color scheme, and this one is definitely my favorite. Thank you for the inspiration, Palumo, and her name on YouTube is A2 Scrap. So I cut the roof, several windows, and the door from that set. Then I cut the tree from this Tim Holtz set as well as the smoke. And I will have all of the Tim Holtz sets linked down below. I'm not sure what the names are, so I'm going to have to look them up and link them for you guys. I used a lawn fawn fence for this card. Again, you can use the everyday borders if you want, but this one's more of a spooky one. And then, of course, I have the card base itself from the Slimline pop-up birdhouse die. I cut 2 layers from white. Again, you don't need those 2 white layers. 1 from purple and 2 from gray. So you're only going to need the 1 purple and the 2 gray for your cards. If you want to add more stability, you can add the white layers. Then I cut a little doorstep from the connector piece from brown. And then I have my cobblestone stencil. This one ended up being the coolest one. I love how this came out with the ink blending. So here I have my Ziplocs, and here is the formula for this design. 2 whites, 2 grays, 1 purple. Whites you don't have to add. Then 1 or 2 roofs for the front and back, and this die set has a top piece for the roof, so that is this small piece here. I'm going to add 2 of those in there. 2 black fences for the front and back of my card. I don't end up using these circle windows. I do use them for the light up portion, but for the rest of my cards I preferred it with just the 2 windows. So I had 2 of the brown circular windows, 1 smoke, and then 2 of the locks for the door and the doorknob. I did 1 of each in yellow. 2 of the half circle windows for the door. 4 of the square windows. And then I had 2 white layers for my cat and 1 black. I have 2 white layers for the ghost, for each ghost. I have 2 gray roofs, 1 white roof. You don't need the white roof, by the way. I end up not using those. 2 connector pieces that I cut from black. One spider web. The other set of ghosts. And then I think I go with 3 spiders again, because those are great fillers. Then I have 2 purple doors for stability because these are going to open. I want to make sure that they don't rip. And then 2 brown door steps. Okay, and then I have 1 white tree and 1 black tree. So yeah, that is that goodie bag. I'll go ahead and do the rest. And that is pretty much going to complete part 1 of 2. I definitely wanted to do this all in one video, but when I sped up this process, I felt like I wasn't teaching you anything about mass production. I know that that's kind of a huge thing right now, especially with Christmas coming. I know a lot of you like to figure out 2 or 3 designs and mass produce them, and I thought that this was a good way to show you how I go about doing it. When I first started Scrappy Tales, it started as a handmade greeting card business, and this is what I did all the time to keep myself organized and to whip out cards relatively quickly. These are much more detailed than what I normally do, but because this is my party, I kind of want to impress, so I went all out. But you definitely don't have to do that. I know that Halloween is only about 2 weeks away, so this video is coming a little bit later than what I wanted to do. I started these cards in late September, and I got my Christmas collection about halfway through. So I had to focus on that, and then just this weekend I finished the last 4 cards, and they were sent out on Monday. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I wanted to share these Halloween invites, even though they might be a little bit late for this year. They can definitely be used as your invitations next year. You can also just take what I taught you in today's video on mass producing and apply them to your Christmas cards. Part 2 of this video will be out in the next couple days, where I show you how I built all of these cards. I also made some of them light up, not all 12 obviously, but the 3 that I designed, I'll show you how they look lit up. It's so cool. I use Pear Blossom pressed lights, so definitely stay tuned for that. It'll be a longer video, but I can't wait to share all of them. So thanks again for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. All the products I use will be linked down below. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time. Bye!